I love finding people's learning styles and figuring out kind of what makes them tick and kind of how I can help them get to that end result, how I can get the understanding that they need to be able to move forward.
Okay, so we're here with Louise, Artist Spotlight. Louise Gasca, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, love?
Fantastic. And I'm so glad you could join for your Artist Spotlight so we could get to know you more and hear so much about your journey. And I would say by looking at the background, you're kind of into art. It's kind of a
A
thing.
little bit, just a touch.
Yeah.
Just a minute amount of my life is taken up by creating stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Your artwork for me has always been really impressive, endearing, playful, colored choice, just bold, kind of pop art fun, but not with an energy that's like a playful, loving energy, or it's just like a look at me. It's a playful love, and it's authentic and it's fun and it's funny, and this is just your art, separate from tattooing. And I've always, since I first found it, I've been impressed.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. I don't think I would do it if I didn't enjoy it, because I
Right.
like to have that. And being able to play and just explore stuff has been really kind of key for me moving through everything. And it took me a long time to accept that as well, kind of to move away from what was expected of my art to just kind of just playing with it and having some fun. That was definitely a transition, definitely a jump.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Everyone has to go through that. Take us to the beginning. Take us to the very beginning. Like, what first inspired you with art, and how did you learn, and what was that path like?
So I think I've always created stuff. It's a very cute picture, I've got to be honest. It was full on like little curly hair, paintbrush in hand when I was about 3 years old. So I think I've always been creating stuff, making things the whole time. Went through school, obviously, in the south of the UK, went to university in the University of Hertfordshire, and then kind of really started to hone or kind of figure out who I was going to be as an artist and kind of try things out. There was still that pressure to kind of conform a little bit to what people expected me to do, which was definitely a trip. But then after my fine art degree, I then moved into teaching as a backup, and then discovered that was also a passion of mine, which was nice. So I got to work with secondary school kids in the UK. So from like 11 years old all the way up through to adult education. Taught in, can I name drop the school?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Taught
Jose
at
did in
the,
his interview. He
did
was
he do
like,
his as well?
Dreyfus
Awesome.
and da. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I taught the Chauncey School in Ware, which is a school just north of London. Really beautiful school, great community, really cared about the kids. Um, Learned a lot from the kids and from the people around me, which was great. From there, obviously had my own kids. They kind of took the focus. I figure I was still creating. I was just creating humans rather than art. So,
Mm-hmm.
still a challenge, still fun. And then I actually think through them, I rediscovered that love of playing and kind of messy stuff and making mistakes and learning from that and kind of growing in that sense. And then eventually, a little whiles after that, we moved out to California. Some significant life changes, shall we say, and then I got back into painting quite heavily. Rediscovered that it was a driving force as part of me. I have to do it. I have to create every single day, even if it's a craft or kind of messing with the kids. I have to make something, otherwise I go a bit bonkers. And then yeah, started really pushing myself to truly play with stuff and allowing myself that freedom to just explore and not have the pressure of it being perfect or even coming out as I expected it to. If I start a piece and it goes, somewhere else, I just let it go that way. But yeah, mainly work at the moment with acrylics, pen and ink, watercolors. Oils. I've been rediscovering oils, which has been a challenge because I love the smell of them, but the mess afterwards is not something that I enjoy. Dabbled in a bit of printmaking recently. I just play. I just let my brain kind of go where it wants to take me, which is it's awesome. I love it. I love it.
That's wonderful. And you got into art education many, many years ago, right? What was that like to then, be an artist and then start to structure in a way where you would actually be educating and teaching other people? That would have brought a lot of formality to the play, but yet still the play still had to be there, right? What was that
Yeah,
like?
it was really fun actually. It was kind of almost like rediscovering the basic rules that I'd been taught myself kind of years before. So having to kind of rein myself in and re-deliver the stuff that I knew gave me that restructure to my own understanding. I did have an amazing fellow teacher who was very prim and proper, and she had her classroom beautifully laid out, always clean, always tidy. I would enter like a hurricane and just mess stuff up, but in a good way, in a good way. So we had a beautiful balance of kind of calm and then slight chaos. So we kind of balanced each other out. But being able to deliver the curriculum, but then also allow the kids the freedom to really explore the stuff as well and kind of make the discoveries for themselves, and kind of see that happening really did. It was amazing. It was a beautiful thing. Typically I kind of got the year 9 boy group coming through, so the pub background, growing up in a pub, came into play quite nicely. We were able to connect, I think, on a different level, which was always good fun.
Yeah.
It got a little loud in my classroom, but you know, it was creative. It was a melting pot of ideas and expression. Yeah, I think the Ofsted inspection, when that happened, that was definitely an experience for me, having to be formally assessed and having to be like prim and proper
Sure.
and proper grown up. Like that was tricky, but I got through it.
Nice. And you taught all ages, right? I mean, you taught from what, middle school up to adults, really a whole span.
Yeah, so my professional training is for secondary school kids, so from 11 to 18, but I also went into junior schools, which would be elementary schools here, and taught younger kids all the way through to adult education. We used to run an adult photography class after school that I was involved with, and then I developed and designed the graphic design course that they ran for, I think they still run it, in fact. So that was kind of cool. And then moving out here as well, I got back into working with kids. So I was doing some work with Art Masters, where we'd go visit kind of different schools and kind of deliver classes to them. And that was great as well, because I got to kind of see the American side of the education system and kind of see how that compared to the UK. And it was fun because I was like the visiting teacher, so it was novel and new, and I could kind of burst into the room, deliver this curriculum. I love finding people's learning styles and figuring out kind of what makes them tick and kind of how I can help them get to that end result, how I can get the understanding that they need to be able to move forward. I love figuring out how to get that and kind of work with it. It's really fun. It's like a little challenge.
And that's the day-to-day teaching art and design, right? So in the apprenticeship, right, everything, all that, right, then translated over into in the apprenticeship, right? You're exposed to new people all the time, and sounds like finding out what makes them tick and how they can make progress quickly is exciting to you.
Love it.
What did you find yourself on making or picking up the additional then whole universe of skill sets of tattooing? Right? What was that like? All your art background, all your art education, and then coming in fresh to tattooing. I mean, many years ago at this point, but what was that like?
Yeah, I definitely came to it later than I perhaps now would have liked to. I think if I'd been 18 and got into it, that would have been incredible. But you know, the universe, just things happen. It was definitely a shift. I always describe it as my art brain and my tattoo brain. So I have the two sides, and I've learned to kind of turn one down and turn one up depending on which media that I'm working in. Both of them now influence each other, obviously. You know, if I'm working on a canvas, I've still got my tattoo brain kind of chipping in. But then if I'm working on a tattoo, same thing, the art brain kind of chips in. But definitely kind of transferring the skills from working on canvas and paper essentially into skin was definitely a jump. But I love finding those new things and kind of figuring stuff out and just knowing how it works. The science of it behind everything for me was incredible. Like I love nerding out about stuff and diving down the rabbit holes.
What parts of tattooing were the most surprising as you got into them?
I think slowing myself down. That was probably the biggest challenge for me, because when I paint and when I draw, I tend to go fast. Like I always joke about, I had a friend commission me and he wanted like weekly updates and nothing was happening for weeks and weeks. And then I did this, I think it was 3 foot by 5 foot painting one night in like 12 hours. And I was like, for me, it's the process. So it's the thinking and then it just gets done. With tattooing, obviously, you have to do the planning, you have to do the preparation, you have to put those steps in first. And then when you're physically doing the tattoo, you have to take your time, measure yourself, kind of, you know, monitor everything as you're going. So for me, that was the biggest challenge. But then as soon as that clicked, it was almost like that bit of the tattoo brain clicked into place. And now I switch.